UFC Fight Night in Abu Dhabi on August 3rd features Corey Sandhagen versus Umar Nurmagomedov for the main event. I'm looking forward to this matchup very fucking much, my guy. I'm very excited for this shit, and I think it's definitely going to be one that appeals to the hardcore fans. Firstly, you got Umar Nurmagomedov. He's 17-0, undefeated. He's on a 5-fight win streak in the UFC. He's an extremely exciting prospect looking to make it big in the bantamweight division. But it's not going to be easy for him, because in his path is Corey Sandhagen, a 17-4, number 3 ranked contender in the bantamweight division. This dude is an experienced veteran on a 3-fight win streak against top competition such as Marlon Vera, Song Yadong, and Rob Font. This is definitely going to be the biggest challenge for Umar, and today I will be analyzing their strengths and weaknesses, along with possible opportunities for victory. Looking at some stats for these guys, firstly you got Corey Sandhagen at 5'11" against Umar Nurmagomedov, 5'8". I would like to point out that Corey Sandhagen is probably going to be the tallest guy Umar Nurmagomedov has gone up against. This could be a difference, as Corey Sandhagen does like to use his range and he does like to keep distance. So we'll see how Umar is able to handle this. I would like to point out this right here. It says Umar Nurmagomedov is in an orthodox stance. I do think that's kind of weird because Umar switches stances a lot. He likes to kick in orthodox and southpaw, so I think that he's a bit of a switch stance, just like Corey Sandhagen. Sandhagen also has an inch in reach. He also has an inch in leg reach as well, I believe. So, like I said, along with his height, he will definitely be looking to use those to his advantage. Both of these guys are extremely active strikers. If you look at their stats, you have Corey Sandhagen landing 5.33 strikes per minute against Umar Nurmagomedov, who's landing 4.75 strikes per minute. Both of these guys are really active. They throw a lot of volume, so it's definitely going to be a good fight on the stand-up. Something I'd like to point out as well, and I don't really think a lot of people are talking about it, Umar Nurmagomedov has a 76% striking defense. That's actually pretty fucking good. Means he's not getting hit a whole bunch, so we'll have to see how Corey's able to handle somebody with the striking defense along with the striking offense and grappling of Umar. It'll definitely make for a tough opponent for him. Looking at the grappling, bro, what the fuck is this? He got Umar with 4.51 takedowns on average per 15 minutes against Corey Sandhagen's 1.36. Dude's fucking spamming those takedowns. I don't think he's on the level of fucking Cardio King Merab, but it's definitely a pace for sure, and I think it's definitely one that will tire and break opponents down over time. It also says here that Umar has a 100% takedown defense, which on paper that does look nice, but I don't really think that means much given that he hasn't gone against really high level competition. We'll see how much this statistic changes once he goes against, higher ranked opponents. I mean, he hasn't even gone against somebody in the top 15, so that's definitely subject to change over time. Now let's go over some strengths and weaknesses that these guys have, starting with Umar. Firstly, I feel like it fucking speaks for itself. His last name fucking speaks for itself. The fact that most of you guys probably have fucking trouble pronouncing that shit speaks for itself. He's a Russian motherfucker with high-level grappling. Just crazy, world-class wrestling. When you consider the team he trains with, when you consider the guys that he's working with, guys like Khabib Nurmagomedov, fucking Islam Makhachev. I guess you could say Usman, but I don't know. Personally, I don't really rank him that high compared to the other guys, but obviously he's training with world-class wrestlers all the time. He's been doing it since he was a fucking kid. Gives him a whole bunch of experience, and simply put, wrestling is grappling in general is his bread and butter. Whether it comes to the submissions, the takedowns, the way he's able to chain it all together, it's a competitive edge for him. You have to point it out, bro. Secondly, you got his unorthodox striking, and unorthodox in the sense that he is an excellent kicker. He is an absolutely superb kicker. The way he's able to throw roundhouse kicks, teeps, question mark kicks, especially off of the lead leg, that requires a lot of hip flexibility. The way he's able to throw it so fucking snappy as well, and it's really able to do some good damage to opponents. He's able to mix it up, and it's a great tool for him to have. You don't see a lot. He almost uses kicks like they're jabs, I guess you could say, because when he starts a fight, he's automatically just throwing the teeps, throwing the roundhouse kicks, just trying to gauge you, trying to test your range. It throws people off, dude. Not to mention that his combinations as well. Umar is one of the few fighters in the UFC that will actually start with kicks and then follow up with punches. A perfect example of this would be his knockout against Raoni Barcelos, which, I mean, he starts with a knee and then follows up with the left hook afterwards. Very unorthodox, very high level striking, just able to catch these guys off guard, and it just like his grappling, it throws people off. He's really just a unique fucking case. He's an odd duck. I mean, I don't know how much of this is all hype. People are saying he's even better than Khabib. They're saying that about Islam, but the motherfucker has cuts on his face. But I mean, with this guy, he does a lot of stuff that you don't see his predecessors do. I mean, you don't really see Islam has fairly good kicks, but you don't really see Islam throw kicks to the dexterity that Umar does. You know, you don't really see him do that. And on top of that, how tenacious he is as well, along with, of course, his third strength, his explosiveness and his athleticism. If you see the way this guy's able to switch it up from kicks to striking to takedowns, it's absolutely insane. He is young, so I'll give him that. But I mean, his grappling is absolutely dynamic, just like his striking. His explosiveness and athleticism is really something that throws opponents off. And I think he, especially against Corey Sandhagen, which Corey does rely a lot more on technique than he does physicality, I definitely think that his explosiveness and athleticism is going to be a huge competitive edge for him, along with his grappling and his already unorthodox striking. He makes for a very weird opponent for Sandhagen. Even though he's never fought in the top 15, he's really an odd duck. I don't think, just like how he's never fought somebody like Sandhagen, I don't think Sandhagen's ever fought somebody like Umar. I will word it like that. Now we got to talk about his weaknesses, which, I mean, everyone has them. The guy's only human after all. Firstly, I mean, we got to talk about his lack of experience. Yes, he is on a 5-fight win streak in the UFC, but none of those guys are against top 15 opponents. You know what I mean? A lot of these guys are unranked. A lot of these guys, I mean, casual fans wouldn't even really know who the fuck these guys are. Like Almakhan, his last opponent, Almakhan was literally just debuting in the UFC. You know, not exactly a big fucking name, and he gave Umar a pretty good fight as well. So, I mean, as exciting as Umar is, if he's having trouble against a guy who's just debuting in the UFC, it really does make you question how he's going to do against higher level competition. I mean, here's another thing too, fucking Raoni Barcelos, fucking Manes, these guys they're not exactly big names in the bantamweight division. They're good to build him up. I mean, they're good to, like, you know, get him some warmers, but once he goes against better competition, I really think we're going to see him struggle a bit more. I mean, everybody's only human. Secondly, you have his cardio. Like I said, in his last fight against Almakhan gave him a good fight, cracked him with an overhand right, so then Umar just kind of had to resort to the grappling. And for 3 rounds, Umar did look pretty tired after that fight. And I would like to draw attention to the fact that this is a 5-round fight. You know, this is headlining the UFC Fight Night. It's 5 rounds. Sandhagen has plenty of experience in 5 rounds. He's fought in championship fights before. How is this going to hold up for Umar, especially somebody who's so explosive and athletic? You know, I mean, being explosive, being fast, being powerful, it's definitely a good strength to have, but a weakness that comes with it is that it can drain you pretty quickly. I mean, a lot of guys that don't have that fast twitch muscle fiber, yeah, maybe they aren't as explosive as some of these other guys are, but they normally last longer, they have better endurance. I mean, it's very limited information, but he was breathing pretty heavy in that last fight against Almakhan. We'll see how Sandhagen is able to use that to his advantage. Sandhagen did mention it in interviews as well, that he noticed that Umar was looking a bit winded. So expect Sandhagen to try to draw it out to the later rounds to really test Umar's cardio. Thirdly, I put low kicks, but I would just honestly say kicking defense in general. I have to say, for somebody that throws really good kicks, Umar's kicking defense is low-key kind of sus, not gonna lie, bro. I mean, if you look, this is a very specific fight as well. If you look at the fight against Raoni Barcelos, Barcelos was throwing a lot of right roundhouse kicks, and Umar had a very predictable reaction to whenever somebody throws kicks. Surprisingly enough, even though he is a grappler, he doesn't really catch the kicks and try to go for takedowns. He usually just steps back and blocks it, and it's the same reaction every single time. I'm gonna play some on the screen for you guys to look at, but it could be predictable, and I think Sandhagen could exploit it. I mean, if he's mixing it up, if he's throwing low kicks, if he's throwing kicks to the body, kicks to the head, and Umar's using the same predictable reaction against it, a high-level striker like Sandhagen could definitely look to exploit that. keys to victory for this fucking guy. Even though, like, if I'm being serious, I'm a hardcore Sandhagen Glazer. I fucking love the guy. I love the fucking acoustic energy that Sandhagen gives. I would love to see him fight against O'Malley as well. This is a huge risk for him, but Umar definitely has keys to victory, and we'll talk about them. Firstly, take away Sandhagen's range. If you look at the fight against Aljamain Sterling, Aljamain was, as Joe Rogan said, putting the pressure on Sandhagen early.
Ooh, Aljo putting that pressure on early.
Trying to get him going backwards right away.
He was not giving him space. He didn't let Sandhagen use his tools. You know, I mean, Sandhagen generally needs a bit of space to throw things like flying knees. He's a 5'11" rangy guy for bantamweight, so he's going to want to keep you at the end of his jab. Throw some low kicks, throw some long range weapons as well. If Umar's able to do that, put pressure on Sandhagen, it'll take away a lot of his weapons, make him a bit more predictable, and Umar, as we said, he's athletic, he's strong, he's probably going to be stronger than Sandhagen. I think in a close range, that strength advantage is really going to show. So it would be good for Umar to get into the close range, follow like Aljo, pressure the fuck out of Sandhagen. Secondly, be unpredictable. I mean, given this guy's striking style, and given this guy's overall fighting style, he's an extremely unorthodox fighter, so I think you should definitely lean into it. Throw those kicks, throw them shits out there, bro. I mean, I think the risk of getting taken down when you're like such a high level grappler is pretty low, so it's pretty nice because yes, you can throw kicks and you kind of have that safety net of the grappling, so you don't have to worry about the repercussions of that. But you know, use your kicks, use the combinations where he starts with the kicks and then the striking, use the explosive wrestling, just fucking use your full bag of tricks, bro. Honestly, be unpredictable. It's going to be hard for Sandhagen to really defend against you if you can't really know what you're doing, and it'll be easier to land. And it really ties into the third key to victory, utilizing the threat of the takedown. This guy's reputation alone is going to make people hesitant and worried about you know, the takedown and the grappling. Just like for example with guys like Islam and Habib, these guys knew that they were grapplers before the fight even started. So just with that, it makes these guys a bit more tentative, a bit more hesitant to attack. Utilizing the threat of the takedown is an excellent mind game, and it'll open up the striking. It'll open up those weird ass fucking kicks he throws. It'll open up his boxing, and it makes him unpredictable. Now we're gonna talk about the Sandman. We're gonna talk about fucking my guy, the guy I really want to fucking win. I'm hoping this guy's able to fucking pull it off, bro. Corey, the Sandman, Sandhagen, fucking wild man over here, fucking fighting dudes that don't even fight ranked opponents, when he could literally just like, he could honestly fight somebody like fucking, as MMA Guru said, fucking Pedro Munoz and still get a title shot afterwards. But this guy wants to take the fucking risk. He wants to take the chance fighting somebody like Umar. So just respect, the motherfucker has balls. And his number one strength against Umar will definitely be his experience. He's gone in 5 rounds before, he's fought for the title before, he's fought in high stakes fights before, and he's gone against ranked opponents, which Umar hasn't. You know, he's gone against those guys that are a bit more polished in their game. The guys that definitely had a bit more time to, you know, add some tools and add a bit more skill to their game, while Umar's been going against guys that were relatively fresh or never really that high level to begin with. I think that experience is going to be a huge advantage for Sandhagen. Secondly, he's longer. He has a whole bunch of range on Umar. I mean, he's 3 inches taller. He only has an inch in terms of reach and leg reach, but that height advantage could be great for him, especially given that Sandhagen loves to use distance management. Fuck, I just dropped my mic, fellas. My bad. Especially given that Sandhagen likes to use distance management. He likes to keep people at range. If you look at the fight against Frankie Edgar, that's kind of what he was doing before he exploded with that fucking flying knee to his face, dog. If he's fighting against Umar, that would be really smart to do. You know, take advantage of the fact that you're the longer man, pause, and make it a long-range battle. He has a lot of good tools. He has flying knees, which goes into his third strength, which I'll talk about now, his fucking diversity. The fact that this guy has flying knees, he has spinning back kicks. If you look at the fight against Song Yadong, he was just hitting him with those crashing elbows in a close range, which Umar, being a grappler, that would be very useful for Sandhagen, is to use the elbows, especially when he's in the clinch. This guy has a lot. I would actually say that Sandhagen is more diverse in his striking against Umar. Umar has kicks. He has really good kicks, right? But that's the thing. It's kicks, right? His boxing is a bit rudimentary, to say the least. His kicks is really what makes his boxing shine, while Sandhagen does have kicks, but he also has elbows, he also has knees, he has a nice good jab, he has body shots as well. And in his grappling as well, I mean, he can threaten with some crazy submissions. I mean, he fucked up TJ Dillashaw's knee when he threw that knee bar at him. He has a triangle choke as well. You know, he'll go into the flying knee into the triangle choke. Just makes him a very dynamic guy to go against. And honestly, both of these guys are just super unorthodox. So it'll be really cool to see how they clash with one another. Fortunately though, this guy does have fucking weaknesses. And that's kind of what's making people so iffy about choosing this fight. You either have people that are like hardcore Sandhagen glazers saying that Sandhagen with his experience is going to take over. By the way, that means me. And then you also have the Umar fans, which, not to mention that these guys are fucking Khabib dick riders as well. I'm just gonna say it. But you have the Umar fans that are thinking Umar's really just gonna show a new level in this bantamweight division. And a Russian wrestler in the bantamweight division is definitely gonna shake shit up. I'll say that for sure. Especially against guys like O'Malley. You also have rising guys like Peyton Talbot. But I'm getting off track. Let me talk about Sandhagen's weaknesses. Firstly, yes, his takedown defense. Now, let me get very specific about the wording on this. I think Sandhagen does have pretty good grappling. I think he threatens with submissions. I think he has good scrambling ability. I'm saying he's vulnerable to takedowns. He still gets taken down. You've seen it against Song Yadong. You've seen it against Marlon Moraes. People will do... When he throws kicks, they tend to get caught. It has been taken advantage of in the past. See, I don't know how it's going to work against Umar, because like I said, Umar has that very specific thing where he doesn't seem to catch kicks. He just blocks and backs up, but it's still a vulnerability that could be utilized if Umar decides to. Secondly, yes, he's fighting in Abu Dhabi. He's fighting in enemy territory. That's a reason why some people find the Nurmagomedovs to be a bit controversial, because they take matchups that are favorable for them in terms of choosing their opponents, but also in terms of the location and the timing of it. They'll take advantage of the fact that they have things like Ramadan, so that way they can sit out and fight for like once a fucking year. And if they do fight, they'll fight in Abu Dhabi, where they have the support of the crowd. They have a whole bunch of people there that they're familiar with. They're very familiar with that environment, given that they do train there here and there. It's just it leans more towards Umar, especially given that, you know, Umar's fighting up in competition. Umar's fighting the number 3 ranked contender. So him fighting in Abu Dhabi after he's had a good amount of time to rest, it definitely leans more into his favor. Thirdly, and this goes into his first weakness, which is his takedown defense, he does give up his back. It is a habit and a tendency that could be very, very dangerous in this fight. You've seen it happen against Song Yadong. TJ Dillashaw was doing it a few times. I think the biggest example of this would be against Aljamain Sterling, which, I mean, you saw how much he was a fucking crocodile with that shit the moment he took Sandhagen's back. Sandhagen was just fucked, absolutely fucked. But it's a weakness and something that several people have taken advantage of in the past. He's given up his back, and if you're Corey Sandhagen, you cannot give up your back to Umar Nurmagomedov. You've seen what this guy does. You've seen how dangerous this guy is with the grappling. That's basically a death wish waiting to happen. Don't give up your back. Talking about keys to victory. Now, this is what I'm hoping will fucking happen, right? Fucking a flying knee. Fuck yeah, bro. I mean, I hope that happens, bro. I hope it's just like a round 1 flying knee. Sandhagen takes no damage. Fucking calls out fucking O'Malley. Calls him a pussy. Tells him like, hey, bro, after you knock out fucking Marab, you can fucking run the fade. That's the idealistic outcome I would have for it, for sure. But firstly, make Umar work. Like I said, Umar may have problems with his cardio. He's explosive. He's explosive. He's big. He's strong. You know, an experienced, seasoned veteran like Corey Sandhagen could actually make Umar waste his athleticism, because after he doesn't have all that explosiveness, he's going to be fucking gassed. He isn't going to be moving as fast as he was in the beginning of the fight. It's going to be a bit slower. He's going to be a bit more labored with his takedown attempts. And Sandhagen, with the experience in the 5 rounds, that's really when it'll play more into his favor. So make Umar work, make him waste one of the things that makes him so dangerous, which is his athleticism. That'd be really smart. Secondly, tactical aggression. The thing with these Russian guys is that they go in there with the expectation that they're going to impose their will on you. They're going to walk you the fuck down, pressure you, and then just have their way with you and do whatever the fuck they want with you. A mistake that the guys going against these Russian fighters will make is that they'll be purely defensive, and the only thing they focus on is the takedown. And like I said, with Umar utilizing the threat of the takedown, that could most certainly happen. But Sandhagen could counter this by using aggression to make Umar hesitant to move forward, to kind of like slow down his pace a bit. If you're like, for example, flying knees into fucking inverted triangles, and on top of that, just converting it into a fucking knee bar, dude, which Sandhagen did against Dillashaw, that's a very aggressive way to counter wrestling. And I think that that'd be a really smart thing to do against Umar, because it would make him work, because it would place Umar on the defensive. He wouldn't just be pushing forward. It would fatigue him, it would take some of his energy, and then in the future, Umar's not going to be really thinking, oh, I can do whatever the fuck I want to this guy. Umar's going to be thinking about the rest that he has to worry about himself. Thirdly, take advantage of the height and range. I've said this like 1,000 fucking times. Sandhagen is 3 inches taller than Umar. Use that shit to your advantage. You are the tallest guy Umar has ever fought. Umar might have trouble throwing head kicks against somebody who's as tall as you. Use your height, use your distance management, use your range against a shorter guy. It's fucking... This is like basic fighting 101. If you're the taller guy, you use the range. If you're the shorter guy, you close the distance. So it's obvious that Sandhagen needs to do that in order to win the fight. That being said, I'm really looking forward to this fight. I wonder if you can tell who I'm hoping will win this fight. I obviously want Sandhagen to fucking win this shit. I think he's been at the top for a while. He definitely deserves a shot. Well, he's already had shots at the title, but I think he deserves this fucking chance to shine, especially against somebody like O'Malley. This is a really dangerous fight for him. A lot of people are kind of keeping up with this with bated breath, because if Umar wins this, puts him right in the number 3 spot, you know? Umar wins this, he's the next guy to fight O'Malley. O'Malley versus Nurmagomedov, that's a good name value card, I will say that. That'll definitely draw some fans for sure. But we'll see what happens. It's just honestly going to be a good fight. I'm very excited to see what happens regardless of the outcome, and I think it's going to be great for the bantamweight division. Take it easy, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.